Here is just one example. ICE agents breaking down the door. It is horrific, it is racist, it is fascist, and it is totally illegal. Secretary Noem should resign in disgrace or be impeached. Yes or no, in the absence of an emergency, are ICE and Border Patrol agents legally allowed to knock down someone's door without a judicial warrant and probable cause?
They are not.
Yes or no, did federal agents present a legal judicial warrant to you?
No, they did not.
Yes or no, ICE agents are being directed to break the law?
They're being instructed to violate the law.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Ansari.
Thank you, Ranking Member Garcia and Senator Blumenthal, for convening both House and Senate Democrats to continue our oversight of DHS's lawlessness and brutality. The Trump regime has used its paramilitary force, DHS and ICE agents, to terrorize communities and families all across the United States. These agents are told to engage in illegal and unconstitutional activity, including illegal use of administrative warrants to invade private homes and mass surveillance to collect data on millions of Americans. Here is just one example. ICE agents breaking down the door of Ms. Tayana Gibson Brown without a warrant to arrest her husband, Garrison Gibson. This fascist paramilitary force, particularly Border Control agents and ICE, are completely untrained to conduct police activity in American cities, resulting in chaos and deadly harm to both members of the public, like Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good, as well as to officers. It is horrific, it is racist, it is fascist, and it is totally illegal. This is still America. Rules apply and the Constitution matters. Under DHS use of force policies, ICE and Border Patrol agents must comply with the Fourth Amendment's restrictions on the use of force. That is, that agents may only use force when, quote, no reasonably effective, safe, and feasible alternative appears to exist, end quote. Instead, agents are engaging in a free-for-all, shooting, tasing, and pepper spraying wherever they see fit. Secretary Noem should resign in disgrace or be impeached. She will go down in history as one of the worst accomplices to this massive abuse of power. We need to rein in ICE and hold the Trump-Epstein regime accountable for its crimes. Now, I want to turn to our witnesses, and I want to thank all of you for being here today and bravely speaking out to shine a light on these abuses. My first question is for Mr. Bunnell. Yes or no, in the absence of an emergency, are ICE and Border Patrol agents legally allowed to knock down someone's door without a judicial warrant and probable cause?
They are not.
And yes or no, also for you, have ICE and Border Patrol agents acted illegally in forcing entry to private homes over the past year without judicial warrants and probable cause?
Based on the reports that we've seen today and what we've heard about, it sounds like they are, yes.
And Ms. Gibson Brown, yes or no, did federal agents present a legal judicial warrant to you when they broke down your front door with a battering ram and entered with guns pointed at you while your daughter was home?
No, they did not.
And to Mr. Schwank, thank you so much for your testimony today. Yes or no, are ICE agents being told they can force entry into private homes without judicial warrants?
Yes, they are.
And you said in your introduction, quote, there was a secretive order to train officers to violate the Constitution. Yes or no, ICE agents are being directed to break the law and violate the Constitution with such directions?
Yes, they're being instructed to violate the law and enter homes using the I-205 warrant process, which is just a permission slip. It's not a real judicial warrant.
Thank you. What we are seeing around the country is an authoritarian police state, the kind created by a shameless authoritarian, Donald Trump, to preserve and expand his power at the expense of our constitutional rights. I will not stop fighting against this fascist paramilitary force. And again, I want to thank the witnesses for your bravery and for your testimony and for your patriotism today. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you. I thank my colleagues for this important hearing today. And I will say I've repeatedly challenged my Republican colleagues that if you believe in the Constitution, then you believe in the First Amendment right to assemble. If you believe in people's liberties, if you believe in the Constitution, then you don't go after people for having a legal permit to carry like they did to Alex Preddy. Then you believe in the Second Amendment. If you believe in the Constitution, then you believe in the Fifth Amendment, right to due process. And if you believe in the Constitution, you believe in the Fourth Amendment right against search and seizure, which is the major part of this hearing that we're talking about today. And I would start with you, Mr. Bunnell. Thank you so much for coming forward. In your written testimony, you noted that the DHS legal training materials previously called physical entry into a home without consent or a judicial warrant the chief evil against which the wording of the Fourth Amendment is directed. As you know, Justice Scalia once wrote that when it comes to the Fourth Amendment, the home is first among equals. Can you explain why the home holds this special importance under the law?
Thank you, Senator. The Supreme Court has spoken to this numerous times over the decades and centuries. The home is the core thing that is at the heart of the Fourth Amendment protections. It's the sanctity of the home. It dates back to the traditions in England before the Declaration of Independence and the sort of notion that a man's home is his castle. And so this is a deeply rooted principle of American jurisprudence.
Thank you very much. And I would note we've had it happen numerous times. It wasn't just in the sad case of Ms. Gibson Brown in front of her 9-year-old daughter, husband, sister. It also happened to a Hmong elder who was dragged out of his house by mistake in the coldest day ever in his underwear and thrown in a car and driven around for 24 hours. So Ms. Gibson Brown, you had just come back from your night shift as a nurse, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's why you're wearing the scrubs in the video?
I had fell asleep with my scrubs on, yes.
And you work in intensive care unit, is that right?
A pediatric intensive care, yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
21 years.
So there you are, you're home, and then suddenly your husband wakes you up and tells you that this has happened. Could you talk about how you felt at that moment?
I just didn't understand because he had just checked in. And then he had another check-in for the 26th, and it was my son's birthday that day, so I was just in shock.
And is it true then that Judge Bryant, who used to, for my colleagues should know this, he was an assistant U.S. attorney, worked as a prosecutor, and then in the last few years, this went through a confirmation hearing and became a federal judge. He's the judge that then issued an order that this was illegal, what happened to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Schwenk, thank you for coming forward, as my colleagues have noted. And I want you to go over again, because it was just so shocking to me, what was eliminated from the training of these ICE agents, just because it's been my constituents that's been dragged out of their homes, like the Hmong elder. And it is my constituents that have seen repeatedly the racial profiling and this illegal use of force. Tell us what was omitted, taken away from this training when our colleagues in the last few years, coinciding with last summer when they gave them an extra $75 billion. What was taken out of the training, Mr. Schwenk?
Thank you, Senator. What was taken out of the training were classes on use of force, specifically classes taught by the legal department, as well as classes taught by other units. What was taken out was almost 16 hours of firearms training, classes that teach them how to use their weapons correctly and safely. What was taken out were classes on how the Constitution works, what the constitutional requirements are for their job, and the constitutional limits on their authority. In fact, the class where we talk to the officers and teach them about the rights of protesters was cut from a 2-hour program into about 10 minutes. They got shoehorned into a lecture on what the concept of a seizure is. There are others. There are many other classes that were cut, but I think these are the most critical for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. I'm going to call on Representative Randall.